are working, Alice. This one is not this, not yours. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the City of Gloucester Zoning Board of Appeals, April 25th, 2024. This meeting is being conducted as an in-person meeting with a remote hybrid component. The hybrid component is on the Zoom link, meeting ID 889-6550-3936. I recognize in attendance myself, Joe Parisi, Michael Nyman is online, Peter Canavo to my right, and Ron Wilson to his right. And I declare we have a quorum. We only have 4 members in attendance voting on the different issues. And we require 4 out of 4 vote for approval. Cleaning up a few things, we did have 2 requests to continue hearings that had already been continued. And first one we'll hear from is the application SS Solar Estate Investment LLC, seeking a variance and change of use on 12 to 18 Plum Street. Attorney Favazza.
Thank you, Chairman. For the record, Joel Favazza, Seaside Legal Solutions, 123 Main Street. Per my email, we are looking for a continuance to your second meeting in May. I believe it's May 30th. We've been in contact with at least one abutter, and we're trying to make some adjustments to the plan. For any other members of the neighborhood who are watching or watch the replay, please feel free, if you have questions or concerns, to reach out to contact@seasidelegal.com. And we're happy to loop in any other neighbors who have any questions or concerns as we go through this refresh. And with that, Mr. Chair, I request a continuance to May 30th.
Thank you. Entertain a motion to continue.
So moved.
Motion made
Second.
and seconded. Roll call. Yours isn't working.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Canavo?
Yes.
Mr. Nyman?
Yes.
Mr. Parisi?
Yes, that's continued. If Adria's on, let me know. We have one other continued that's requesting a continuance. That is the petition Elizabeth Akeley seeking a variance, dimensional requirements for lot frontage at 11 Walker Court. They're represented by Attorney Pratt. Is she available? She did, if she doesn't get on, she did request a continuance. I just don't remember what date.
Hey, Joe, I think I had mentioned before, it's going to be pretty hard for me to be on the May 9th. I'm going to be in Foxborough all day, and I'm sure I'm not going to be home in time.
Okay. We'll take that into account. Maybe she'll be willing to go to the 30th also. No, nothing? Yeah. How about the
Yeah.
sleeping dog properties? Is he on?
Tyler, yes.
Tyler? He's on? You can bring him forward?
So, Joe, with only 4 of us, did Ron hear that one?
No, I'm going to deal with that right now.
Ah, okay.
So the continued application petition of Sleepy Dog Properties seeking a special permit to alter and expand a nonconforming residence on a nonconforming lot and variances for lot coverage and rear setbacks at 9 Bale Lane. Derek Tyler is on, and I was hoping for the last minute, but we have a member that's away, and then we also had a member that took sick today. So we don't have a quorum to hear your case because we had the 5 regular members in attendance at your original March 14th hearing and your continued March 28th hearing. So we're going to need to have at least 4 of those people, which we will be able to have at our May 9th meeting. So we're going to have to continue yours, unfortunately, for lack of quorum, to May 9th. Is that date okay with you?
Yeah, I can make that date work.
Great. I'd like a motion to continue 9 Bale Lane to May 9th.
I make a motion, continue 9 Bell Lane to May 9th.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, roll call vote. Sorry about that.
Mr. Canavo?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Nyman?
Yes.
Mr. Parisi?
Yes. So we continue to May 9th.
Okay.
Walker Court, Attorney Pratt
on right
not on
now.
yet? Okay, we're going to, we may have to come back to that one. But now we have our regular hearings tonight. And the first hearing is the petitioner Earl and Janice Varney seeking a determination pursuant to 2.4.1 that a special permit is not required to demolish and reconstruct the pre-existing non-conforming structure on a non-conforming lot at 448 Rear Washington Street. And if we make a determination that there is an increase, they're asking for a special permit to reconstruct a conforming structure. Attorney, Alice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Deborah Ellison, Ellison Law Office, 63 Middle Street, Gloucester. I'm here representing the applicants and owners of the property, Ross and Earl Varney. They're trustees of the Varney Realty Trust. Ross is here tonight with his wife, Lynn, and Earl is supposed to be on through Zoom. The designer is Charles Nazarian, and the surveyor is North Shore Survey. The property is located at 448 R Washington Street. And if I may share my screen. I don't think I've been let in yet.
Did you let Devin? Attorney Ellison?
So this is a picture of the property. In the first instance, we are requesting a determination that the proposed conforming home on a non-conforming lot does not result in an increase in the non-conforming nature of the residence, and that a special permit is not required under 2.4.4B. In the alternative, we are seeking a special permit under 1.9 and 2.4.3 for the demolition, reconstruction, and alteration of a non-conforming structure on a non-conforming lot to be replaced by a conforming structure. And also a written determination under 2.4.5 that the new structure will not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. My clients are seeking to demolish the existing single-family house, which is shown in blue on this plan, and to replace it with a new residence, which is shown in red. The existing home is within the FEMA flood zone. The black line that I'm pointing to with my cursor is the FEMA flood zone, and you can see approximately 1/3 of the house is in the zone, and a lot of the deck, most of the deck is in the zone. The new home is moved entirely outside of the floodplain, and it also meets all of the setbacks. This lot is very similar to other lots on Washington Street. Many of the properties along this part of Washington Street have a house on the street and have 1 or 2 houses that are below it as you head down towards the Mill River. The descent to the water's edge is often very steep, and the access is typically over the property that fronts on Washington Street. Many of these were originally summer residences, and now many have been converted to full-time homes. This is a plan from 1937, which shows you the right-of-way from Washington Street down to 448R, which is this property here. The right-of-way is for access and utilities. There's also a parking area within the right-of-way, and there is additional parking that is allowed on 448, as well as the ability to construct a structure on 448. The new plans will move all of the parking for 448R down to that lot. And currently there is parking for 4 cars tandem at the top of the 448 lot right near Washington Street. These are the floor plans. The current home has 892 square feet of living space. It's very small. The proposed home is still modest at 1,972 square feet.
Deb, can I interject just for a second? I had muted myself. I kept asking you and I was muted. So
Sorry.
I just want to go back to the parking up above. When you say 4 tandem, you mean 2 for 448 and 2 for 448 rear?
Correct.
Okay, that's fine.
So
Just want
they
to make sure I
park
understand.
side by side at the top of the driveway.
I understand.
Currently.
Yep.
So going back to the floor plans, there's a ground floor because of the steepness of the slope. So there'll be something of a basement or a crawl space along with a seasonal bathroom and a terrace. And then the first and second floors contain a kitchen, combined living area and dining area, a home office, 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. These elevations show the side of the house. And this elevation is from the water side. And this is the side that's facing the street. Ross Varney and his wife Lynn intend to move here full-time. Ross is a minister, and they currently live in a parsonage of his church. And once he retires, that will no longer be available. The current cottage is not winterized, and they want to construct a home that they're able to occupy year-round, but also that is more client resilient. There is no dimensional relief that's being requested. The proposed house is fully compliant with all the setbacks, the height, and the lot coverage. And in fact, the lot coverage will be 18%, where it is allowed to be 30% in this area.
What is it
So-
currently? Though?
Currently, it is 16%.
Okay.
So it's increasing by 2%. The lot itself, however, is non-compliant. The lot size is small. It does not meet the lot width. There is no frontage because it is down the hill from Washington Street, and there is no front yard, but the house is actually 171 feet from Washington Street. The right side is currently non-conforming at 0.9 feet. It will become conforming at 10.5 feet. And the rear yard is also non-conforming at 3 feet. It will become conforming at 31 feet, and 20 feet is required. Mr. Varney has had numerous conversations with his nearest abutters at 446 and 448 and 450 Washington. The concerns that have been expressed to him relate to the driveway and its construction and not the home itself. Many of their questions relate to the driveway elevations, its exact location, drainage, and existing retaining walls. These are issues that will be addressed in detail during the building permit process and construction stages of the project. I would like to address some of the issues that were raised by the owner at 448 Washington, which is the one that is directly above 448R. So the first question or concern that they had was that they only had photocopies that were not to scale. We have since provided them a scaled copy of the site plan, and I've also provided them a copy of the 1937 plan that shows the exact measurements of the right-of-way and its location. They are also concerned about their current parking and that there's no intent to change that. 448R will move its parking off of their lot, but 448 will continue to park where they've always parked. They are also concerned about the distance between the proposed driveway and the side deck. The driveway is planned to be on the southernmost portion of the right-of-way, so it's going to be as far away from that deck as possible. It will be, my clients would like it to be paved for 10 feet. They may need to increase that if the city requires it. I don't know whether there'll be a fire department requirement to have it wider than that, but if they can make it only 10 feet of pavement, they are very happy to do that. Also, the distance, excuse me, I'm sorry. Their neighbors are also concerned with any potential changes to grade of their driveway and their existing gardens. And to the extent that it's possible, my clients have no intention of changing any of those grades. There are also retaining walls that apparently are not very secure, according to the letter from the abutter. So my client will have his builder rebuild those walls so that they are sturdy. And they will not just be cobbled together by him. There'll be someone who has knowledge of how to build a retaining wall, building those retaining walls. With regard to tree removal, there will have to be some tree removal, and they will do that in compliance with the Conservation Commission. With regard to heavy equipment, every effort will be made to minimize the inconvenience to the owners of 448, as well as the amount of time that their cars will not be able to be parked in the driveway. They will provide a contact information for the on-site supervisor, including a phone number in case any sort of issues arise. The Varneys are committed to continuing these discussions with the neighbors, and they will keep the neighbors informed as the construction details become more available. In the first instance, I would suggest to you that a special permit is not required in this case under 2.4.4b. The proposal cures the existing right side yard and rear yard nonconformities. It complies with all dimensional setbacks. Therefore, there's no increase in the nonconforming nature of the single-family residence, and it vastly improves the current parking situation. If you're not inclined to make that finding, I would suggest for the same reasons that they are entitled to a special permit under 1.9 and 2.4.3, because it is not more detrimental to the neighborhood than the pre-existing home. The current encroachments will be eliminated. The existing nonconformities of the lot will be the same, and otherwise it will be compliant. Again, the parking situation is improved. Parking for 448R will now be entirely off of the other lot. The new home will be more climate resilient, and it will be moved out of the FEMA zone. The Varneys will also comply with all of the requirements of 2.4.5 for the demolition and replacement of the house. And I would suggest that for all of the reasons stated above, that it's not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. Happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Okay, questions at this time? I have one, so I'm wrong. Hey, I got them both working now.
Yeah, can you
The,
take your screen down, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm inclined to support that it's not an increase. And the only reason I would not is because I'm concerned about if we just say there's no increase and you can go ahead, then where do the conditions come in? I'm very concerned about the right-of-way. You say they park there, but that's 448's property. They have a
Correct.
right of way, and I would have conditioned that they couldn't block, that they had to begin to park on their new parking area and no longer on 448's parking. And when I was out there, I mean, 448 is as much right to drive over this new driveway while it's still on his property. And
Correct.
now access is back a little better. He was concerned about snow removal and all that. So that might be the only reason I would think of giving the special permit so that we could make some conditions, but I'm open to hear what everybody else says.
Yeah, I think Joe, I share your concerns, exactly. But my sort of counter argument is the cart's before the horse, that it doesn't seem that we have the right to declare that they need a special permit just so that we can get some conditions in there that you and I both agree are, that we're hoping, even if we can't condition it, that the owners would abide by. So I don't feel that's a reason I think it's a reason to be concerned. I don't think it's a reason to argue that we should give them a special permit.
We'll take some public testimony.
My only concern was, I was wondering if the residents of 448 had expressed any concern about by moving building a two-story building closer to them and taking down a lower building that's currently closer to the water, whether they had raised that issue.
They had written in to us in support. They support the new house
Okay.
completely.
Thank
Their
you.
only concerns that deal with the right-of-way and the retaining wall. So they did make that clear. Okay, let's take some public testimonies. Anyone either in person or online that wishes to speak in favor of the application? If you're on a device, you hit your raise screen button. If you're on a phone, you dial *9. Allison, can you see let me see who's on here. Okay, anyone wishing to speak in favor? If you do, come on up to the podium. We'll need your name and address first. Take a deep breath and then tell us what you want to tell us.
I'm Don Muirhead, 448 Washington Street. And my wife and I drafted the letter that you have before you. They did.
I thought it was on.
Got a loud voice. It's good.
No,
It was on before.
it was on? Okay. Okay. So yes, we really think it's a good idea to get the house up and out of the flood zone. We are concerned about climate resilience. We have solar panels, a charging station. We fully support that part of the change. I think that the thing that I've tried to express to the Varneys that I don't believe they fully appreciate is how bad storms can be here. And in 2015, I want to say, and you can check with Public Works, my section of sidewalk was the only sidewalk that was fully cleared in that 2015 winter. And it was cleared because I was able to push snow into the backyard. That's one of the great reasons I'm concerned about where the driveways, how far it comes in, how much room I have to get a snow sled through. I don't know how many more years I'll be able to do it, but it's important to me to be able to clear the walk for kids walking to school and so on. The Varneys have provided us with this 2-scale map at this point. We see that they're planning on a 3-foot setback from the side yard plus 10 feet of pavement. And they did say that they will build the retaining walls to industry standards. That's still vague to me. I'd like to know if that means poured concrete, reinforced concrete. The stack block that they put in next to the stairs, I've had to restack at least 3 times in the years we've been there. So I want something that's really going to hold our yard level and keep as much of the garden as we can keep. We have beautiful gardens there. In fact, Buzz commented on how nice it is that we keep it up. But it is our property. We do want to enjoy it. And that's very important to us. So that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak? How about anyone in opposition? If anyone wants to speak in opposition to the application? Being none, be no need for rebuttal. Michael, with discussion, we want to touch back on that? You're muted.
Yeah, I just, I don't think they need a special permit. I mean, I think they've clearly eliminated the nonconformities. I think, you know, the neighbor is attesting that the house is in a good spot and he likes what's going on there. I think the concerns are outside of our control, even though we might want to exert some control. And I think the hope is the Varneys will be good, thoughtful neighbors together with enforcement from building inspector, engineering department, you know, whoever has authority over how that road is constructed and how those retaining walls are put in. I just think that's somebody else's responsibility, not ours.
Yeah, so I think any site work would fall under the DPW and engineering. And we can just hope that they oversee it. Because I agree, it's not an increase in nonconformity. We ready? Any more discussion? Are we ready for a motion?
I'm ready for motion.
Yep.
And the
The motion
petition,
would be, our initial one part of a two-part test is we're going to vote whether we believe it's an increase in nonconformity or, and does, if not, it doesn't require a special permit. Okay?
petition of Earl and Janice Varney seeking termination pursuant of 2.4.4 that the special permit is not required and is not an increase in the nonconformity. I would make the motion. Is it supposed to be a positive motion? Or is that it?
Positive motion that it does not increase.
That it does not increase the nonconformity.
Second,
Motion made and seconded that a determination is being made that this is not an increase in nonconformity and therefore does not require a special permit to reconstruct a pre-existing nonconforming structure on a nonconforming lot. Roll call vote.
Mr. Nyman,
yes.
Mr. Canavo,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Parisi.
Yes. You've heard our decision. We do have a form to utilize in this scenario in place of a written decision because it's a non-starter. We can get that with you. Allison has them. Thank you. Next application is the petition of Mike Ventimiglia seeking a variance pursuing to 1.7 and 3.2.1 for relief from dimensional requirements for side setbacks to construct a shed at 6 Marina Drive. Michael?
Yes, I'd like to put up a shed looking for 5 feet of relief on one of my property lines. There was a shed there before. I took it down because it was old and fallen down when we purchased the house a couple of years back. Just looking to put it back and talk to some of the neighbors that are around. They seem to be okay with it, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, so let me just get the numbers out so we'll have it.
So Mike, I'm looking at the plot plan. We talked when I was over at your property earlier today. The shed is in red. The other shed that's sort of drawn there does not exist, correct?
The other shed that's on that plot plan was the people that me and my wife purchased the house from. They ended up moving that shed to where I believe you should have a picture of the old shed kind of tucked in the corner there.
Yeah.
So that when I purchased the house, that shed wasn't where that plot plan shows. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah.
We're good on the side yard setback. We're encroaching on, it's a side too, because it's a corner lot.
Yeah, it's a corner lot. The right side is where I'm looking for the relief.
Yep.
The 5 feet of relief.
Is that rear yard?
No, because it's a corner lot. So it becomes, it's two sides and the rear is just that little piece in the back. That's why they draw that dotted line like this. Okay,
Yeah, I think the other thing to note, yeah, if you guys have been over there, is that both of the neighbors, the rear neighbor and the neighbor to the right, they have sheds that are closer than, the one on the right especially is much closer than, the 10-foot setback, and the one in the rear is, I'm pretty sure closer than 10 as well.
Yeah, the one on the right is maybe a foot off, and then the one on the, I mean, but they've been there for, I'm assuming, quite some time.
Sure.
But
well, you know me, I'm a big believer in tucking the sheds in the corner.
Yeah, I am
I've
too.
never understood why that was a problem. So, all right, we'll take some public testimony. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application? Anyone in favor? Anybody here or no? I see none. Is there anyone that wishes to speak in opposition to the shed? And see no one raising their hand. We will, anybody have any discussion by the board? Or are we ready for a motion?
I can make a motion.
Go ahead.
Petitioner Mike Ventimiglia seeking a variance pursuant to 1.7 and 3.2.1 for relief from dimensional requirements for side setbacks to construct a shed at 6 Marina Drive. I think it's a good place for the shed. I think it fits with his 2 adjoining neighbors who also have sheds, and there's no opposition. So I would move approval of the variance.
Second.
A motion made and seconded to approve a variance of 5 feet to the side yard setback. The other, we'll have a roll call vote. I just want to make one more comment that being a corner lot creates the hardship that allows for the variance, because it does deal with 2 sides and a small rear. So I think we'll use it. That'll be the justification for the variance. Roll call vote.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Nyman,
Yes.
Mr. Canavo,
Yes.
Mr. Parisi.
Yes, you've heard our decision, Mike, favorable. We will write a decision. I'll be doing it, Allison. And we'll get it over to you as soon as possible so you can get the appeal period and go forward.
okay, thank you very much.
I'd like
Good
to
luck.
Jump back and invite Attorney Pratt on to discuss Walker Street. Walker Court, I'm sorry.
Hello. Hello, Chairman Parisi, members of the board. Adria Pratt, Law Office of Adria Pratt, representing Elizabeth Akerly in the petition for 11 Walker Court. And the Akerlys are requesting an additional continuance until the next zoning board hearing.
So the May 9th is good for you?
May 9th works, yes, thank you.
Motion to continue?
Make a motion
Joe.
to move 11 Walker, May 9th.
Oh, right, Michael, you're not.
Yeah, just a reminder, I will not be able to attend that meeting.
Yeah, because I gotta, I have to go back and look in the minutes. I didn't realize this one.
I was not involved.
No, yeah, I'm just wondering if the other 4 members were here besides Michael. Does that cover us? There was a couple of continuances, so the original hearing, I'm not sure who was here. So what we're going to do is, we're going to continue, let's vote to continue it to May 9th. And if we find out that we won't have a quorum there that satisfies the previous hearings, we can also have Ron listen to the tapes of the previous hearings so that he'd be eligible to participate.
It was present at the hearing.
Yeah, but we'll have to have you listen to the tapes, yep, because you weren't a member yet. So I think we'll be able to be good to go on May 9th. So.
Okay. Also, if it works for the board to continue to the following meeting past May 9th, that's okay as well. Whatever works for the
Well,
board.
that's not till May 30th. I don't know if you wanted to wait that long. It
Uh,
can. Let's shoot
I
for
mean, if
5/9.
we, let's shoot for 5/9, but if for some reason that doesn't work, it's okay if we extend.
Okay. We made a motion. Roll call?
No one seconded.
No one seconded?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call vote to continue.
Mr. Canavo?
Yes.
Mr. Nyman?
Yes,
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Parisi?
Yes, you've heard our decision. We continue to May 9th. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Have a good night.
Take care.
Now, two more hearings tonight. The first being the petition of Cape Ann Savings Bank seeking a variance pursuant to 1.7 and 4.3.4 of the sign ordinance for relief from dimensional requirements for total sign area to attach a sign to the bank at 4 Schoolhouse Road. Attorney Favazza is representing.
Thank you. Could I get brought in as a presenter, please? For the record, my name is Joel Favazza. I'm an attorney at Seaside Legal Solutions, 123 Main Street in Gloucester. And I'm here on behalf of the Cape Ann Savings Bank, which is the applicant. And I'm also here on behalf of the YMCA of the North Shore, which is the owner of the property itself. In 1 second, I will share my screen. Okay. So the work we're proposing is to build an 8 by 24-foot sign on the exterior wall on the drive-through side of the building. That's the southwest side of the building facing Schoolhouse Road. And this is a picture of a temporary sign that was hung in celebration of their 1-year anniversary for that branch. And that's what 8 by 24 looks like in the location that it's being proposed to be located at. So the background here is we are in the R10 medium high density residential district, which is modified under an overlay district. We are looking at a full service bank and drive-through facility that was permitted by special council permit back in 2021. And so we're asking for relief from the sign requirements because in the MUOD, there's a little line that says the underlying sign requirements remain unchanged. The reason they did that was because at the time they anticipated that everything would be coming through as a city council special permit. In fact, like I mentioned, this bank itself was built pursuant to a special permit. What it doesn't consider is after the fact, signs might need to be changed or added, in which case now you're looking at the R10 sign requirements. After speaking to the building inspector, he determined that ZBA relief was necessary rather than opening up the city council special permit again, because it's only relating to this sign and the underlying ordinance still controls. So because this is a residential district, we are allowed 10 square feet of signage total and 10 square feet of signs per sign. And right now there is already 150 square feet of signage on the property, and this would bring it up to a total of 342 by adding 192 square feet of signage, which is obviously way over the R10 limit. Again, that's the plan, that's the picture. Here's the aerial shot from the city's website. And we are in the left-hand corner of that yellow polygon. And so because this is a request for relief from the signs, it's a variance. And so you have to look at literal enforcement. As I mentioned, literal enforcement basically means no signs, right? 10 square feet. So be no reasonable signage despite being in a shopping center, basically. The hardship arises from the fact that the structure is a commercial building located in an underlying residential district that was modified by the MUOD. And I would argue you can grant the relief I'm requesting without derogating from the intent of the GZO or harming the public good, because again, the whole purpose behind the sign ordinance is to make sure that signs are appropriately sized, tasteful, et cetera. Obviously, this is not a normal R10 neighborhood where you wouldn't want an 8 by 24-foot sign on someone's house. And again, the MUOD that applies here was created to promote commercial use. It just didn't anticipate, after the fact signage, so it didn't cover it. So again, we are looking for 2 variances. It is to allow for a 192 square foot sign to be erected for a total of 342 square feet of signage on the site. And I thank you very much.
One question so is this in its own lot and that's the footage we're dealing with for signage? I approved the YMCA variances earlier.
So yeah, so this building sits with the patch of grass that's between Halyard Apartments and the YMCA. So it's a patch of grass, a section of the parking lot in this building. The YMCA is on a separate lot.
Okay. Just want to make sure we get the right footage.
Mhm.
Okay. Any questions by the members? So you know we've dealt with these many times. I always encourage, like we did with the Y downtown, get all your signs in early with the permit, so you don't have to come back and do this. But we've approved Shaw's, we've approved many places, the new YMCA, the place that up in the industrial park, you know, in Happy Valley. I just couldn't remember the name, and it's common. Obviously, if something was inappropriate, we might step up, and maybe somebody will get up and say they don't like it. But that's just what we're going to deal with tonight. The ordinance doesn't make a lot of sense in a commercial property. It only allows 10 square feet of signage on an entire commercial property. So with that in mind, we can go to, you have something you want to say first, or we go
No,
to public testimony?
Go to public. I was just gonna agree.
Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application, please raise your hand. We'll come up. Anyone in favor? Seeing none. Or anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the sign? Any opposition? Once again, seeing none, there'll be no need for rebuttal. Discussion by the board or a motion?
I can make a motion if you want.
Seems straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, this is common. You know, it's pretty big, but, you know, they like to do everything big down there at the savings banks. All right, we'll have a motion, Michael.
Petition for KPN Savings Bank seeking a variance pursuant to 1.7 and 4.3.4 for relief from dimensional requirements for total sign area to attach a sign to the bank at 4 Schoolhouse Road. I think for the reasons stated by the attorney, clearly a hardship there. This is not a residential area, even though that's how it's being treated. So the signage, I would move approval of the variances for the 192 square foot sign and the total 342 square feet of signage on the building.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, roll call vote.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Canavo,
Yes.
Mr. Nyman,
Yes.
Yes. Heard our decision's favorable. You can do a draft, would be helpful.
Will do. Thank you very much.
Okay, our last hearing of the evening is the petitioners, John Segori and Yvonne Ciodiello, seeking a special permit authorizing an increase in building height of up to 35 feet pursuant to 1.10 and 3.1.6, and seeking a determination pursuant to 2.4.4 that a special permit is not required to alter or expand a pre-existing non-conforming structure on a non-conforming lot at 9 Bayberry Lane. If a determination is made that a special permit will be required, that would be a special permit, alter and expand pre-existing non-conforming structure on a non-conforming lot, subject to 1.9 and 2.3.4.3. Represented by Attorney Frontiero. It almost came.
Good evening, everyone. For the record, Sal Frontiero, 46 Middle Street, for the petitioners, John Shigori and Yvonne Cordiello. Having a little bit of trouble connecting, so I'm not sure if you want to see the plans. There is nobody here except for my client, so I'm not sure if you want to see them over on the board.
We all have the drawings.
Okay, great. The site is in West Gloucester in the R20 zoning district. It is adjacent to Coffins Beach and Wingasheek Beach. It consists of a 12,132 square foot lot. It's non-conforming as to lot size. There's a single-family structure that was rebuilt in 2007, and at that time was slightly non-conforming as to left side yard setback and front yard setback. Relief was granted in 2006 for that rebuild, and also to alter and expand a non-conforming structure. Since that time, it was determined that the superseding setbacks do apply to a tear down and rebuild. So although the plans show the R20 setbacks, the R10s actually apply. So this structure does actually meet all the dimensional requirements despite the previous variance, which was based on R20. So today the petitioners propose to renew the relief that they obtained in 2015. This board did vote favorably on the exact same petition in 2015. They want to construct a new third or second floor area, depending on how you look at it, on the southeasterly portion of the house. It'll be as the plan show, it will be a master suite, and will lead to an existing roof deck. So the same question we have with Deb Ellison's petition, we have a conforming structure and a non-conforming lot. And the question is, under 2.4.3B, do we need a special permit at all to alter and expand? There is some case law on this. I've mentioned this before, the Bjorkling case. It basically said small scale alterations, extensions, or structural changes in this situation, like a porch, sunroom, addition of a one-story garage, conversion of a one-story garage for one motor vehicle to a one-story garage for two motor vehicles, and sheds and things like that do not, as a matter of law, increase the non-conforming nature of the site. So I think if the board needs to make, I think, a threshold determination as to whether adding a small addition within the building cube, whether that implicates, whether that makes it more substantial to the neighborhood, whether that increases the nonconformity. So I don't know if the board wants to go through that inquiry first, or.
Well, one thing I'd like to say, and we've had some recent cases, one of which we won in court, that when I agree with you, normally I wouldn't, but this exists under a variance. And
Well,
any going up requires us to re-permit.
I would agree with you. The only qualification I would make is that the variance granted was based on the R20 setbacks back in 2006. I'm happy to go to the second prong. I'm happy to do the second prong, so.
I think
Sure.
it would be the right thing. Michael, what do you think? I think it'd be the right thing because that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an attorney, so I want to be careful that I act like one. And so I think, belts and suspenders here. There's no opposition. There's plenty of support from the letters that came through. I don't see any reason why we don't just move to the special permit. And I'm in favor of it, and grant it that way, so that there's no issues down the road.
You mean grant the special permit to alter and expand? Go to that first, or the height?
Are we granting a permit to amend a variance? That's what.
I see.
What's been coming up.
This doesn't implicate the variance area. The variance area is in the left side yard in the front. This is in the rear. So we're not changing any area where the slight variances were granted.
I know, but what we've been learning recently, and like I say, we just won a case because of it. We were right in that we asked to modify any change to the building that was allowed, the structure allowed through variance needed to just amend the variance. I mean, you read what I read, Mike, as far as that case on Mount Vernon.
Okay, I don't know if you want me to address that issue, or do you want me to talk about the special permit to alter and expand first?
But yeah, I'm just I'm wondering if would an amendment to the variance cover everything?
I don't think so, because it's a different area of the house. So I think that we're adding bulk to the cube. So if you do determine that that it increases the nonconformity, I do think we would need a special permit to alter and expand.
Yeah, I think we might as well definitely go that route.
Okay, so it's a small 600 square foot addition, again, entirely within the building cube. And it doesn't really implicate much in the neighborhood at all. And I think the best test of whether it's substantial or detrimental to the neighborhood is the 5 abutters who basically approved this. They saw the plans and they're in favor of it. I sent the emails out. So I think it's a very, very small addition, and I don't think it has an effect on the neighborhood, and those who would be affected have consented. So I would ask that the special permit to alter and expand issue. Next, we would have a special permit for the height. Because of this, the way our height ordinance works, this will, for the first time, cause the structure to go above 30 feet to 32 feet. And as this board knows, under 3.1.6A, this board has jurisdiction and can issue a special permit upon a written determination by the board that such increase in allowable height is consistent with neighborhood character and will not substantially detrimental to the neighborhood because of obstruction of views, overshadowing of other properties, impairment of utilities, or other adverse impacts. And I think the construction is consistent with the neighborhood character down there and the other buildings. And again, as far as overshadowing or obstruction of views, we go back to the same issue with a special permit to alter and expand. Those most affected have consented. The way the sun goes as far as shadows, the properties on either side would be affected in the morning and or afternoon, and they have reviewed the plans and consented. There is no impairment of utilities, no obstruction of view, so I would ask that special permit issue as well. As far as amending variances, I think the variances should be amended here. It's more of a legal matter, I think, than a practical one, because the variances granted in 2006 were based on the R20 setbacks. This fully complies with R10, which is now applicable. And the area in question does not affect the areas where the variance was granted. So to the extent the variance needs to be modified, I think it should be modified here. Thank you.
Thanks. Glad you included all the points. Any discussion? Anyone do testimony?
I just want to understand it. So we want to amend.
So to be safe, he's proposing a special permit to alter and expand a pre-existing. A special permit to be 2 feet taller
The height,
than
right?
allowed.
That's fine.
And I'm thinking in safety, we're going to amend the variance previously granted to allow this addition under the variance.
So we don't want to, so we don't need to grant a special permit.
Yeah, special permit, two special permits and an amendment of a variance.
Oh, okay.
Okay? I think that'll be the safest. But let's hear the public first.
Okay.
Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application? Anyone in favor? Please raise your hand. Let's see, we only have a couple people on. Seeing no one, is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the proposal? Any opposition? Seeing none, no need for rebuttal. Discussion by the board, and then we'll put together some motions here. Anything? Anybody?
It just seems like amending it cleans things up. Is that what we'll?
I think from our recent history, it'd be the safest.
Okay. I just wanted to understand what we were approving.
Is there any relevance of the previous permit that was granted for the same thing but elapsed? Is there any relevance to
No,
looking at that?
it was built under the variance, and now they're going to change the house a little, so we're just amending the variance to be safe. You know, cautionary, give them everything they need, so there's no appeal. Yeah, I mean, that determination that the superseding setbacks are now applicable wasn't necessarily in existence at that time, so they just did what they thought was right, and it's obviously something sounds like everybody's in favor of. So, motion, Michael?
I'll try. You guys might,
questions.
you might have to help me. Petitioners John Seguri and Yvonne Cordello seeking special permit authorizing an increase in building height up to 35 feet. I believe we said it's 32 feet. Pursuant to 1.10 and 3.1.6, and then seeking a determination that a special permit is not required. We've determined that it is required, so they're after a special permit to alter and expand a pre-existing non-conforming structure on the non-conforming lot, as well as, and that's per 1.9, 4.3, as well as amending variance. That's from 2006, Joe, is that correct? Amending a previously granted variance. So I would move approval of amending the variance just to cover our bases. I don't know that it's absolutely necessary, but the building that's being, the section of the buildings being added isn't even within where the variance was needed, but I would move approval of that. I would move approval of the special permit for height. I think it is consistent with the neighborhood. It's a very eclectic neighborhood, but there's higher buildings and smaller buildings. There's no overshadowing, and there's no view obstruction, as the neighbors have told us by their approval. And I would move approval of the special permit to alter and expand. I think we've decided, again, just to be careful, that it is an expansion of existing nonconformities, but it's not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. So I'd move approval of both special permits and the variance, and the amendment to the variance.
Second on all.
Okay, we have motions before us to include variance, a special permit to alter and expand, a special permit to exceed the height limit, and a modification of a variance previously granted to allow the addition as proposed in the plans and as spelled out by Attorney Frontiero. Roll call vote.
Mr. Canavo?
Yes, for the reasons stated.
Mr. Nyman?
Yes, for both special permits and for the modification of the variance.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes, for the reasons stated.
Mr. Parisi?
Also vote in favor. You've heard our decisions favorable. We appreciate a draft.
I'd be happy to do that.
Get that rolling.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's the last hearing. Any members have anything they want to bring up? Next meeting is May 9th, where you see we have mostly continued hearings. One was the Horton Street one, and we've asked for legal advice on that one. And then the ones that we continued tonight, the two more. So won't be a long agenda, but it'll be enough to make it worthwhile. And then the next meeting on the 30th, we will probably have a fair amount of new applications by then. So that'll add to that agenda. So
Do you want to look at the minutes from the two previous meetings that Allison posted?
yeah, we can approve those here now. I've been through them both. They look fine. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of March 14th, 2024 and April 11th, 2024.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of March 24th and March 14th
March 14th.
March
and April
14th.
11th.
and April 11th.
Second,
Made and seconded. Roll call on the minutes.
Mr. Nyman?
yes on both.
Mr. Canavo?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
I can only vote on the 11th. Yes, on the 11th.
Vote, yeah.
Mr. Parisi?
Yes. Now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to
Motion
adjourn.
to adjourn, second.
Made and seconded. Roll call on adjournment.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Nyman?
Yes.
Mr. Canavo?
Yes.
Mr. Parisi?
Yes, we are officially adjourned.
Have a nice evening, gentlemen. Take care, Allison.
Let's see what happens. You think I'm gonna really screw it up? Allison, you want this?
Yeah, did ever sign them? Jeez, oh.
That was the variance, right?
It was subsequent to the
Well, if you don't exercise something, it expires in a year or 2 years, then if it's a variance or not. No, it just expired. Yeah. Yeah, no, if they got relief and then decided not to do the project or whatever, that's not our. All right, gotta sign some things here.
It'd be nice if, like, there was no issues.
Yeah.
8 o'clock.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
Do them all up.
what is it?
You're saying if there was less issues.
Oh, I didn't write this. Who did that?
Like to keep it exciting when we have issues, you know?
It's okay. Allison, you have the stamp?
So did you write 56 Castleview?
I what? Did you bring the stamp?
I did. Did you write 56 Castleview?
Already sent you that.
Yeah, no Ron. He doesn't like Ron.
What's his name?
His legal name is Ronald.
Oh, yeah, that was the only thing I had in the minutes. I was going by the minutes. I blame the secretary. Bale Lane, is that the one Sal just did?
I was trying to get you.
I get them two mixed up. I had Bale Lane and I had, what was the other one that we continued? That Bale Lane we just did.
Huh?
They're doing a lot of card.
Nice, wow.
I thought Bay,
Lane was
I thought Bale Lane was,
continued.
but
Bale
that
Lane
wasn't
was-
that Sleepy Dog?
Yeah.
But this application doesn't say Sleepy.
Bayberry is what we just did. Bale is continued to the 9th.
So Bale, I got nothing to sign. What do I get? Yeah, I just gotta sign these plans.
This is a mine. Zoning ordinance, is this yours? Yours? You gave it to me, I think, with the decision. Because of all consideration. I've missing. Of them? Missing some?
You can get them off the line.
One, Very organized. Have a good night.
That's mine. Yeah. Don't steal my book. I need that. How'd it get way over there?
What were the decisions?
All right, I did what did I just do? This is 448, I signed that. This is Marina Drive. You know, it was funny with the 150 Main, right? We approved it. I don't care if it gets constructed where we approve, the conditions still stay in place. Rob didn't come.